Hi, welcome. I'm Helmut Licht. Thank you for joining me for this 11th video in a series of videos entitled My God, Here, There, Everywhere. Please recall that my reasoning is based on 5 basic statements. Though each person is an individual consciousness unit, he or she in turn is made up of smaller consciousnesses, such as the heart, the liver, etc., and still smaller ones called cells, who in turn are made up of molecules, who are made up of atoms, who are made up of electrons, etc. An endless chain reaching from the infinitesimal small subatomic particles to the infinitely large universe. A more or less permanent consciousness is one where one or more consciousness units or smaller consciousnesses are orbiting around a larger one, such as our moon revolving around our Earth or our planets revolving around our sun. A temporary consciousness is one where several consciousness units or consciousnesses are moving into all different directions but are grouped together for the time being or perceived as such. For instance, several people waiting at an intersection to cross the street. Intelligence seems to operate in a twofold manner. It unites many into one, as all the billions of parts within a city make up one city, and it divides the one into many, as one city can be examined and divided up into billions of smaller parts, such as neighborhoods, parks, houses, bricks, pieces of clay, etc., etc., etc. Our lungs, for instance, express both principles. We inhale one single breath, which is divided up to fill all the tiny ends of the lungs and then reach our bloodstream in minute amounts. In reverse order, all the minute portions of carbon dioxide produced within our bloodstream are carried back to the lungs and are there united into and exhaled as one single breath. Another example is water. One cloud is divided into minute raindrops which fall to the earth, become absorbed by plants, end up in a beverage to be consumed by a person, find their way into a river or lake, etc. Through condensation, the process is reversed, and billions of minute drops of water rise into the sky as condensation to ultimately unite into one cloud. The equiforce keeps the balance between the conforce and the x-force by having one or more smaller units of consciousness orbit around a larger unit of consciousness. The moon orbits the earth, the planets orbit around the suns orbit around a galactic center. If we apply the idea of orbiting to the social sphere, however, one still finds orbits, but they are not circular. Look at children orbiting around their parents. One moment they may be up on the second floor, the next outside in the yard, then at school, then spending the night at a friend's house, even go on a trip. But no matter where they travel, their center of gravity is always their parents and their home. We all have our own centers of gravity around which we orbit, more or less loosely. Our home is the most basic center of gravity. For children, school is the center of gravity 5 days a week, church once or twice a week. With respect to the children, one could say that they orbit around their parents, home, but also around the school, which means they are a subunit of the consciousness they call their family, and also of the one they call their school. Adults, for instance, are subunits to their family and also to their company, work. I am mentioning all this to explain why intelligence centers and consciousnesses do not stay evenly dispersed all through the universe, because of the various kinds of orbits, consciousnesses condense in certain places in the same way people condense in certain places and at certain times, such as a sporting event, in cities as compared to the country, at churches and vacation spots, shopping centers, etc. This is why there are planets or matter which is really condensed consciousnesses, seems to be more prevalent than at other points in the universe. Every intelligence center has a divine connection with my God. So does every consciousness and unit of consciousness. As consciousness units become larger and larger, they increase in attractive power. On the social level, in a family of 7, there is more attractive power than in a family of 3, as in every individual member can attract other CUs, people. On the planetary level, the larger the sun, the more its gravity increases, the more its gravitational field can reach out into the universe. As stated earlier, smaller consciousness either orbit around larger ones, or if the equiforce fails, the larger consciousness absorbs the smaller one, the two become one, and the mass of the larger one increases by the mass of the smaller one. On a planetary scale, this would correspond to a meteor entering the Earth's field of gravity, not entering into an orbit, but rather falling to the Earth and becoming one with it, unless it burns up first. On the human biological scale, this would correspond, for instance, to a person eating a fruit. The apple is brought within the person's reach and is eaten, becoming one with the person and increasing the latter's weight by the weight of the apple. This attractive process operates on the human social level. One person has an idea, and when she or he expresses it, other people, units of consciousness, are attracted to it. Just look at Jesus, Buddha, and Muhammad, and how their ideas have attracted followers, and how, through this attractive power, the respective church bodies were formed and have been growing. As consciousness units increase in size and become more and more complicated, more and more of their energy is devoted to the building, controlling, maintaining, and perfecting of their bodies, and they therefore stay less and less in touch with the divine connection. They awaken more and more to their material existence and fall more and more asleep with respect to the divine origin and heritage. This process of attraction and increase occurs at the level of the smallest intelligence center as well as the largest galaxy and all in between. Before you go, I would like to show you a few pieces of my art. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. Thank you for your interest, and I will see you in my next video. Have a wonderful day.